the MLO Project. I am Frazier, and joining me always is my co-host, Mr. McAllister. Michael, what is happening this Friday, my friend?
Not much, man. Why do you say the intro so slow? Was thinking about it as you were saying it. I was like, we really stretched that out there. I like it. I mean, I don't
Well,
know.
then why are you asking if you
I
like
don't
it?
know. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to criticize. That was the
Jeez,
first
like we're
thing out
just
of my mouth
starting
this
out
morning.
bad already.
My
Like
bad.
just to criticize, just
My
right
bad.
off the bat. No, I slow it down because I talk I talk fast. I've been told I talk fast when I'm excited, and like so I'm gonna just start to slow it down a little bit. Because I know this is going to be a quick service topic because it's something that we're both passionate about, something that we do in our daily lives, and it's a good topic. But that's I just slowed it down, just to hey, just give people like to ease into it because sometimes they're like, hey man, that's like too much at the top, and then of course like then I kick it over to you, and it's like going from like level 10 to like -5, and then like what they're you know what I mean, like they're
I
confused.
talk fast to overcompensate for a
Yeah.
lack of substance.
Yeah, I mean not
Yeah.
yeah, I mean not like Luke Shankula fast, but like
Uh,
fast, like you're not out of breath, but like it's
no, I apologize. That was a rude way to start this
I know,
conversation.
just completely
Uncalled for.
just completely like this is like already starting out bad, but
What a
that's all right.
partner.
We have an awesome topic, and as always, I will carry the show, so we don't have to we don't have to worry about it. But hey, guys, like today's topic is one that we see all the time. In fact, it was just I was making fun of it earlier on Facebook, but one thing I see, and Michael, this is going to be good for you because I want to get your opinion because both from an LO and someone that provides marketing services. But today we're going to talk about like how loan officers could stop wasting their freaking money on marketing, and how to look at marketing expenditures, and what is marketing for, like what should they be paying for, what are they going to see, the all the shiny object shit, and just all the different things that they waste money and time on, not just their own but like the vendors that they work with. So like this is going to kind of be an all encompassing of like how to not waste money, not how to waste time, how to not waste resources, and really focus on how do I make the most out of my marketing, how do I put the money in the my money in the right place to have the best results possible. Because I see it, I've seen it all over the place. I've seen it as someone that's run a team of loan officers, a company of loan officer, a mortgage company, a coach, right, a vendor, right, like a consultant. I've seen it out from every angle you could see it from, and it's pretty much universal for most loan officers that I see as far as like how they approach their marketing. Um, and I know that you've seen it from sales side, from vendor side as well. So I think this could be a great topic. I think it's one, like what we like, we do on this podcast is, outside of like saying, hey, yeah, we try to add value to the loan officers. Of course we are, right? Like that's what this podcast is. But it's like, how do we add like real value so like that loan officers that are listening to this can walk away and say, okay, like this is a thought process or a framework, so to speak, or whatever, of like as I'm judging where I'm putting my marketing dollars, how am I getting my highest best use? Like what kind of like what kind of stories, shitty stories am I telling myself just because I don't like that, or I'm not comfortable doing that? And ultimately is you don't want to be wasting money in this market, or really any market. But right now a lot of people are like, look, I need to make every freaking marketing dollar count. So what am I doing with it? So what's your perspective on this?
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about this. This is another topic that I'm like excited to learn more than anything. I'm excited to talk about this. It's like almost like a little coaching conversation for me because if I look at my track record of spending on marketing, I have lost a lot of money, or maybe like invested a lot of money that I would have invested differently. Maybe that's the
Yep.
way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
But I've learned a lot of lessons along the way, and I'm happy to share those lessons. But it's also something that I feel like I like continue to need like to be better at. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about it. Excited to learn. I have a track record my biggest thing my biggest thing that I've taken away over the years, and then I'll kick it back over to you so that I can again shut up and learn. But my biggest thing that I've taken over the years is that if you're going to be quick to pull the trigger on investing in something, depending on what it is, you got to be quick to pull the trigger to cut bait. And I say depending on what it is because you're going to hear a little bit of conflicting conversation in this episode. I feel like we're probably going to dive into why it's important to make sure that you're giving the marketing campaigns that you're investing in like a real shot and not cutting bait too soon. But really that like it depends on the scenario, right? There's tech tools that you invest in that are slowly killing you. I think we talked about it last week with the $50 a month, $100 a month, $150 a month, the $200 or less subscriptions that are slowly killing you because you're investing in tools that like you don't even log into. Those are the types of things that I'm saying you got to be able to cut bait quick. You're going to pull the trigger quick. You're going to get those things quick. Then you got to be willing to evaluate those expenses every month and cut those quick if you're not using them. That's a big thing. Not investing money in copywriters before you have anything else in place. I've lost a lot of freaking money on that lesson. So yeah, anyways, I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about how to not lose a bunch of money because I definitely have the experience behind that one.
Yeah, and I think we all do as consumers. Like I know I've lost money by, buying something just because it's like something I happened to be thinking about at a time and saw an ad or whatever. And so I've built kind of my own like for lack of a better term, like I would say framework, but actually I built my own constraints, like backed by discipline on certain things that I'll share with all of you guys. I share with my loan officers and the people I coach. But you said an important word as you were talking. And
just one.
It was one. It was really was one, and it was when you said you'd shut up. That was like that was the most important one, which apparently you're not. You're not. But like, no, you said the most important word that I always like to call out, and that's investment. And so that's like first and foremost, like you when it comes to marketing, and like this is obviously like I'm biased because I'm a marketer. Right, but just because I'm biased doesn't mean what I'm saying isn't true. And what's true is that your marketing, whether it's the your strategies, your action, implementation, execution, all of that stuff is the most important thing, most important driver for your success in business. Period. Right, and the reason why, because that's how you're going to bring people in the door, is through marketing, messaging. Right, and whatever, and marketing takes on a lot of different forms, right? Like advertising is a form of market, for example, right? Like just because guys, people think like advertising, like it's not. They're all different like segments of the same topic, but ultimately, marketing is going to be the biggest driver for your growth, and that's just a plain fact. And so when you know that and understand that, is like you always hear like I'm cutting expenses, cost expense. In the really real world, yes, those are costs and there's expenses. But in like the success driven world, marketing, like other things, is an investment. Just like when you go to an event, you are hopefully investing in your development, right? Like whatever that event happens to be, whether it's you're investing in the outcome of the networking conversations that you have, the speakers that you listen to, the workshops that you attend, the breakout sessions you're taking. Hopefully you're using that as an investment, and that investment is, and the reason why that determination of like cost and expense to investment is key is because when someone goes into the stock market, they don't look at it as a fucking cost or an expense. That's why it's called investment. The reason why is because they want a return on it. So my question to all of you loan officers, and then like I'll kick it over to you, Michael, because I want you to tell me how like because I know you talked about like you're going to talk about some of your your failures and stuff that you've had when it comes to this, but like are you treating your marketing like, whether it's like I go and I'm running Facebook ads or Google ads, or I'm getting a CRM, or I'm going into like Mortgage Coach or MBS Highway or whatever it happens to be, are you treating that as an investment? Meaning like you're watching it, you're measuring results, you're actually taking the time to learn the systems and get into them, because when it's an investment, what do you expect? You expect a freaking return. Now, a lot of loan officers are expecting like, because I just saw this post the other day. It's like, hey, is MBS Highway, is it worth it? Does it like get you business? And it's like, that's such a, like, look, I don't want to say it's a stupid question, but it's not a very intelligent premise, right? And it's because I don't want to put anybody down, because I get it. Some people just don't know what they don't know, but the premise is already wrong. MBS Highway in and itself is not going to make you money, right? And guys, look, what we do here at Empower, it isn't going to make you money either, just because you signed up, right? It's what you do with the tool and the technology and the coaching and all the stuff that we do. Now, if you treat us as an investment, like truly as an investment, then yeah, you're going to make more money, right? You're going to grow your business. Same with MBS Highway, same with Mortgage, same with a lot of different tools out there, right? But you have to have the mindset of investment, and with going into it, putting constraints on yourself, saying, I'm going to spend the time to learn the system, to use the system, to be effective with the system, so I could get a return for my investment. That's the mentality switch that a lot of people, or the mindset switch that a lot of people need to have when it comes to how they're spending their money, not just on marketing tools, but all tools in general.
Yeah, I think that's a very, like, I don't know. I want to repeat this, or at least dive deeper into it. This investment thing, because like, as you first started talking about it, I was like, yeah, I was like, I was oversimplifying the idea of marketing spend being an investment. Mm-hmm. Like, what I mean by that is, those of us that like got into trading, have gotten into trading a little bit, especially as technology has gotten like more and more, whether it's like, stocks or crypto or whatever it is, like, you likely started with losing your ass a little bit. Most of us did, right? And why? Because we oversimplified the idea of investing and what we were investing. We thought the fact that we could call it an investment, the fact that we've heard that people make money from this, means that we can just put our money in and then watch it grow. Boom, period, done, right? So that's oversimplifying this idea of an investment. And that's important, because some of my biggest like failures from a marketing expenditure point have come from that exact same thing, have come from like, it's not that I don't consider it an investment, it's that I oversimplify the idea of how this investment works. It's that I'm thinking, yes, this is an investment, so fucking write the check, send it, let's go. Right? But that's not reality. Reality is that if you do that, just like the stock market, just like crypto or whatever, like, if you do that without your due diligence, if you do that without your 100%. Safeguards, your parameters, your whatever, like, you're gonna lose your ass. And so that's where that was super interesting, is like when you very first started talking about investment, that's where my mind was going. And then to hear you kind of walk through that, like, it's an investment, which means you've got to scrutinize it like an investment. You've got to analyze it up front, during, and after like an investment. And that's huge. That's huge, because like I said, some of my biggest marketing failures, expenditures, have come from an oversimplification of what an investment and what my marketing means, i.e., dropping $3,000 on a copywriter before I have, an email list, because I'm well, this copywriter wrote this good shit for this really good, really smart, influential person, so they must be able to do the same results for me. Therefore, I'm going to send them, $3,000. And it's that kind of shit is what gets you into trouble. And I think it's the same thing. Like, when we see loan officers coming into our relationship with that mindset, we go out of our way to try and pump the brakes and make sure that we're setting the right expectations, because it doesn't do anybody any good for people to go in like that, because, they're oversimplifying the idea of what this investment is going to look like and what it's going to take to get a return.
Right, and that's why, and because I have a question for you based off what you said, because I think it'd be important for loan officers to hear it. But that's why, like, when I see questions like, I need something as close as like plug and play as possible, or set it, forget it, it's a bad mindset. It doesn't exist, right? Now, some loan officers are like, well, no, you can't. Like, I'm talking about real results. I have yet to see, when I'm talking about like loan officers that really like operate at a high level, that get, just, an amazing ROI out of their spend of whatever tool and things that they're using. none of them come in with the mindset of plug and play and set it and forget it. And CRMs, in this day and age, I'm sorry, are not plug and play. Like, could I get a CRM that literally I like take out of the box and put my contact information in? Sure, but is that your, to me it's like, what do you mean by plug and play? Meaning like, oh, I don't really have to do too much, like I don't have to, like, guys, if it's new, you're gonna have to learn some stuff. So I'm telling you right now, like every loan officer that's listening, like the plug and play, set it and forget it, like that. Not to say that it doesn't exist. Of course it exists. Now, does it exist on a plane of success and effectiveness that's going to grow your business? 100% no. And so when you see the plug and play, when you see like, set it and forget it, even though like, hey, like with my coaching group, it's like, look, I get you like 95% of the way there, and that's, to me, that's as close as plug and play you're going to get, but you got to carry it 5% of the way. And that 5% is a hard 5%, but at least it's better than like a hard 100% of the way. Right. And so when you're thinking like plug and play or set and forget it, like you're already having a negative mindset, a losing mindset, a quick and easy mindset, and that just does not exist in this in the plane of success and effectiveness and true ROI. And so, kicking it back to you, Michael, when you talked about failures, because I know we could talk about a lot of different, because you mentioned like a lot of different expenses. I know I could as well, but like if you think back of like as an originator buying systems or just even as yourself, as an entrepreneur and business owner, like what would you say, like if you could look at like the grand at the landscape, like what was your biggest one? Like what was the one where you're like never doing that? I mean, obviously the copywriter's one, but like what would you say was like one of your biggest failures is like trying to, getting a marketing system or paying for something that you just totally like, Michael's like, do I only have to pick one? But like,
yeah, I'm like, how about giving NMP $8,000 to show up to one of their events and then realizing it was NMP and saying, fuck it, keep the money. that was a good one.
Well, that's a good one. That's a good one. Right?
No. This is so. It's tough because I feel like there was I put myself in a big hole early in my career with the lead gen, with like figuring out the lead gen thing. And so it's tough for me to say that was like a mistake because like that's literally what I built Empower off of. Mm-hmm. But it was stupid. Like what I was doing was stupid. Like I figured out that I could, back then I could get, zero interest, like signing up for credit cards. I could get zero interest, like balance transfer checks mailed to me, like fucking tens of thousands of dollars for zero interest for 12 or 18 months or whatever. And I just was overconfident, again, oversimplifying this idea of an investment and just started spending money on ad spend on those. And to be honest with you, like that was probably the dumbest thing is like, there was no blueprint in front of me. It was just like, it was overconfidence. It was cockiness. It was, and I lucked out. It's been a really positive thing for my life and my career, obviously, and the careers of others. But at the end of the day, I was reckless and stupid. And it was just this, I don't advocate going into debt for marketing, except for in very like limited situations. And I think that's one of the big takeaways for that. But as far as like my biggest the copywriter and that NMP thing, both like they all come from being oversold on the idea of like, oh, money, business, boom, like exchange money, like give money, get business. And so it's been the copywriter. It's been spending money on ads before I had a CRM in place, before I knew that I could generate leads, etc. I'm trying to think of like Empower as well, if there's anything around that. I mean, we've kept subscriptions. We've kept marketing subscriptions to tools for far too long. That usually happens when things start going well, and you stop paying attention to all those expenditures and whatnot.
And then you start getting $97 to death, and you realize,
yes.
it's like oh yeah, it's just $97. I'm like, yeah, but I got like 150 of them, right? Like, so like it starts becoming real money.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know that I could pinpoint one exact thing. I just think that in every case, it just keeps sticking out to me that like in every case it was just getting ahead of myself and trying to bite off too much with one in one go. Like trying to shortcut success by way of throwing money at the issue. That's really where every single like one of my like mistakes and mistaken investments has come into play.
Yeah, and that's there's a couple things. One is like people were like, well, like hey, you spent that money and now you're kind of built, but that like every loan officer isn't building a marketing agency off of like that background, right? So if you're not, then like yes, that's going to be a huge L.
And
right?
7 years later, we're still the only company that knows how to do what we do with Google Ads. So like it was again, this is a 1 in a million. Like exactly. I got freaking lucky. Period. Like if I could tell you how I figured out the Google Ads strategy that we did, and you could like I'd be like luck. So I definitely don't advocate doing what I did.
Yeah, and that's what it comes down to, and then and also talking about the experience of not really truly like doing the due diligence on certain things before you spend the money. And ultimately, you said an important thing there, and this is what a lot of loan officers learned during the boom when they were making money hand over fist. It wasn't a big deal to do this and forget about that and have like 15 CRMs that you're paying for, and not like I've seen some real, over the last 24 months of coaching with loan officers, some real like, hey, yeah, like I'm on the hook for like $12,000 this year for some shit that they're not even using or wouldn't even use. And a lot of this, I kind of cast a little bit back on the vendor with their, their bullshit, 12-month contracts on stuff. Cause like, look, if I'm a vendor and you're not using it or whatever, like there's no expense on my end, right? Like, don't get me wrong. Like there is an expense of bringing someone on. I don't want, and loan officers, I want you guys to understand this. Like every vendor incurs an expense, especially when they don't own their own tech or they have very expensive licensing fees on the back end that they have to deal with the same type of like kind of like bullshit terms that you do. So like to their providers, whether it's cloud storage, whether it's like, software development or licensing fees of certain
data access,
and stuff, that's like an upfront cost on a lot. So there, don't get me wrong, there is a cost to onboarding a loan officer that only hangs around for like 30 days, right? So like that is like, it's a bad churn moment. But with that being said, it's not like a forever thing, and a lot of people just do it because they can do it. They could lock someone into a contract, and I've seen loan officers have to deal with that. I actually had to help. I'm not going to name the company, but
no, come on, we're on a roll today. I already called out. I don't want called somebody out today.
I don't want you to get a cease and desist. Like, I'm gonna be just fine. I'm doing this on behalf of Empower, so like I don't want you to get in trouble. No, but like there's a company. I'll just say like they changed their name. All right, so they changed their name. And so I actually was helping loan officers on how to work, because I did the same thing with my company. Is I had to I had to help I helped probably about 20 loan officers get out of their contract, because I took them through the verbiage in their contract of failure to perform and breach of contract, based on that, and to word certain things and give them 30 days to perform, which I knew they couldn't. And so like, because the reason why is because they were having these freaking problems for like 6, 12, even longer certain months, and so they were never going to be able to cure these within that 30-day period. So I said, reference this in the so I walked them through how to do that. It sucked to do it, but it's just like, look, at a vendor, if you're not performing and you're just going to like be okay with that, I know this is kind of like totally off the track of this, but it's just important. Like we get it from the vendor side too, is that some vendors just suck, right? So I get it from an originator standpoint, but that does not remove the responsibility to you as an originator to take the time. And one thing I know that I remember of talking to some pretty big vendors when I was on the other side of the table to bring in like enterprise solutions to my company. And I said, what's the adoption rate on this thing, right? Like, because like they want, from an enterprise level, they want you to just basically turn on for every loan officer, which is going to be the biggest waste of money, bar none, because loan officers, when they get shit for free, by and large, aren't going to spend the time and invest or even use the tool, because there's maybe something else that they like or whatever. But their adoption rate was like 35%. And I'm like, so I'm basically paying for 65% of non-usage to the 35% of the people that are going to use it. And then now when you look at like, hey, most of your production's done by your top 15 or 20% of loan officers, it kind of pencils out or whatever. But the point is like, I'd rather just have that pencil out as, in pure profit and revenue or, net positive revenue, as opposed to like losing money just for the sake of losing money. And so, it's incumbent on you as originators to take the time and realizing you're not going to learn this in like, 2 hours, right? You're going to want to spend like a good, I would say at least 8 hours over like the first month of blocking time out to learn how to be effective with this. I know people that have had like a subscription to MBS Highway, and I'll see them like post something in the group. Like I'm talking like like I know it. I don't mean use, like I have a membership, but I don't, obviously use it like an originator does. Like I know that it does that. And this person's like, hey, I've been paying for MBS Highway for like 5 years. And I just realized that I did it. Like, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And when you use that tool effectively, like that's a net positive for your business because it helps you close deals or do whatever. And it's like, now you just spent 5 years of not knowing something that could have helped your business and pay for the tool. And that's what, that's the last thing that I'll leave you with. And because Michael, I want you to kind of wrap this up, but like, when I talked earlier about like constraints is that, I've set my own constraints because, I talk about this with my coaching members all the time. It's like, look, we're adults now. We don't have a parents telling us no, not to do shit. So like, we're free to like just waste money, right? Like that's one of the problems of being an adult. Like we don't have any, unless it's our spouse is kind of like the gatekeeper, then we have that built-in constraint. But like my constraints is like, I don't sign up for anything new unless I stop a subscription of something of equal value. So in order to bring something on, I have to get rid of something. So that may stop me from doing it because then I got to weigh like what's more important to me. And then the second thing is that if I'm going to do it, then I have to immediately block time, 4 hours within the next week to spend 100% on learning how to use this tool. Right. And so those are the constraints you need. And it takes discipline because you're an adult and you're like, no one's going to, like, I'll just do whatever. But I'm telling you right now, you're going to lose money. You're going to lose business. And here's the punchline. Will having Mortgage Coach as a tool, if you use it effectively, help you do more deals? Yes. Has having MBS Highway as a tool help you be more effective as an originator and close more deals? Yes. Right? There's too many loan officers out there that will swear that they, now again, part of it's like how they use it, but again, it's how they use it and they spent the time to do it. This is like, so there's plenty of loan officers out there that will say like, yes, 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 yes. Same with our tool. Are the loan officers out there that their businesses are better today because of what we've done? Absolutely. But it's not because of like just us providing them the services. It's because it was a partnership and they took the time to get into it and put their own constraints on it. But you'll also find loan officers in a Facebook group says like, oh, Mortgage Coach, MBS Highway, I never got any lift from it. I never did. So who's right? They both are. And it was all based off of how they approach the topic, right? So, or approach the tool and whether they're going to do it. So if you're not going to put constraints, you're not going to have discipline in it, you're not going to take the time to learn it, and you're not going to make it somewhat to where you have to give something up in order to get the shiny new toy, then you're going to continue to waste money and you're going to continue to be ineffective, and it's going to hurt not just your pipeline, but it's going to hurt your pocketbook too.
Yeah, that's an awesome takeaway. I mean, I'm sitting here trying like processing like what my takeaways like are from this conversation, and that the ability to block time out. I think one of the things to pay attention to with this is like it's not a question of whether or not you're willing to spend the time. It's a question of whether or not like the time is right in your business that you actually can spend that time. Yep. I think that I personally have been affected by this and seen a lot of LOs get affected by this, of having almost like a gym membership mentality with your software subscriptions and buying shit because you think you're going to use it at some point soon, and keeping it because you want to be reminded that you want to use this thing, right? And like that gym, and I call it the gym membership mentality because that's how a lot of people do like that's why gym memberships price their shit so cheap. They expect most people aren't going to come. They expect you to see it on your bill and to feel guilty about canceling it. And so you keep it on there as a reminder. Hey, I need to go to the gym. Hey, I need to go to the gym. So a lot of us do this with software subscriptions, and that's the wrong way to go about this. So yes, like doing that, like being able to block out 4 hours, like Frazier said, the week after you subscribe. And if you can't do that, wait to subscribe until you can do that, because otherwise you're going to end up wasting money, and it's either going to be in the form of just forgetting about it, or it's going to be in the form of like constantly being nagged that you invested in this and knowing that you want to do it, but you're not quite ready, and being on this like, playing this balancing act of like, okay, do I cancel or do I use this as motivation to like do the thing that I wanted to do in the first place? So stay away from that gym membership mentality. And then like, for small expenditures, yes, use the 4 hour, like that 4 hour rule. Be quick. Like if you have that time to invest, like be quick to pull the trigger on that shit. Be quick to cut bait with it as well when you realize this isn't what you thought it was. If you go in and you spend 2 of that 4 hours and want to throw yourself in front of a moving truck, then cut bait. Don't stop and then be like, oh, I didn't give it the full 4 hours, so I'm going to hang on to it for the next month and try and give it another 2 hours. Like, no, if you spend 2 hours and you hate your life, like cut bait, cancel that subscription right then and there. 9 times out of 10, they don't actually block your access until the end of your first month anyways. And so if you do this in the first week of your subscription, then over the next 3 weeks, you're going to have the opportunity to change your mind anyways. The only other thing I'll throw out there, because you talked about this, was the like month to month versus like contracts. I just want to shout out, like, say Empower, like that's how, like we're month to month. We don't do long-term commitments. We do charge a setup fee for the exact reason that you said. Like we don't want to lose money in the first month that we have we don't think that's fair, right? Like there are costs to acquire, there are costs to like set somebody up, do all those things. We don't think that's fair. That's why we charge a setup fee. That's also why we don't lock somebody into 6-12-month agreements, except for our like enterprise. That's a different story. So anyways, yeah, shouting that out. Definitely be mindful of those subscriptions. Big expenditures should probably be more than 4 hours. Obviously, big, like we're talking thousands of dollars. Should be more than 4 hours, and should be like scrutinized even more. But don't get killed by those $197 a month subscriptions either.
Yeah, and just to add to that is, on top of like learning it, is give the shit time to work, right? Like don't expect things to happen overnight or even within the 30 days, right? Like just you gotta give things time to work and take a hold. Nothing is overnight, but long enough on the good tools. When you're effective with them, you're taking time to learn them. You're being strategic, and you're actually doing the work. Like it's gonna take time to show, but it will show. But you can't just you just can't not let them, give them a chance to get through. But like Michael said, like if it's like, oh, this is like all of this stuff, and you're not just telling yourself a story just because like you're not getting it, right? Different story. But like look, if you're in and you're like, yeah, like this isn't it, then it's just like what they say, like be quick to hire, faster to fire, right? Like you just there's no value in keeping something and realize that you could go on the same thing. Now if you're on like your 15th thing that you've done that on, then the problem probably isn't the technology, it's probably you, and you're gonna have to reevaluate that. And be real with it, guys. Look, we've all screwed up, so just understand that like that's the game sometimes. So all right, well, I think this was one of Michael's better episodes, which is good. Like we started off like man, like Michael's really going to drag us down on this one, but like he picked it back up. So like let's at home like give a little golf clap to Michael and his ability to kind of do better, which is good. But guys, look, hey, share this out. Give us some feedback. Give us a review. Keep coming back. We're loving the growth of the MLO project. And we're excited to continue doing that. We have some cool interviews on tap, and we're excited to expand this even more. And just gonna throw a shout out to Tag in June, and you can see Michael and myself both at that event, and the pre-Tag event, which is going to be a little bit of the green zone. So. Come hang out with us for a couple hours, and it's the admission is free to our event if with your paid ticket to Tag, and I think they're like 90% sold out. So grab it. So it's gonna be a sweet event, and you get to hang out with the coolest podcast hosts in the mortgage industry, which is Dustin Owen and
Oh.
Not us. Not
Is
us.
Dio even gonna be? Is Dio gonna be there though?
I don't know.
Oh, I was like, we're screwed, man. I'm not even coming anymore.
Yeah, I know.
Dustin's
Exactly.
gonna be
I'm
there.
not even coming to my own event. He's gonna freaking be there. No, but come hang out with Michael, myself, and a lot of other cool people at TAG. So, guys, until next time, I am Frazier on behalf of Mr. McAllister. This is the MLO Project, sponsored and powered by Empower LO. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.